I'm literally tearing up. My attempt to stake up the stakes was successful. Hi friends, it is time for March's version of Bumble Builds My TBR. Now March is my birthday month. Shout out to my fellow Pisces. I am ready to do some reading, but listen, last month did me dirty. I was feeling good about it by the end of the TBR video, but then I filmed a video of me actually reading the books. Let's just say that didn't go very well. But as we are coming into Pisces season, things have got to be looking up. Hello, you need some attention? I've also bought more books than I would care to admit to since last month, so I have added those to the spreadsheet. And to help balance that out, I've also added more open-ended prompts to the spreadsheet as well. A quick rundown of how this is going to work for anyone who is new here. This is the TBR game where I'm having basically online dating chooses what I'm going to read for next month. Hence, Bookish Bumble, the dating app.
Poison, the poison for Cusco. The poison chosen specially to kill Cusco. Cusco's poison.
I have a mixture of books that I own physically and also just kind of more open-ended TBR type prompts that I have in a spreadsheet. A random number generator is going to help me choose. I get 10 swipes and I have to swipe right on at least 5 of those, meaning that I choose 5 of those that I'm going to read for the next month. We do a combination of physically owned books and then also more open-ended prompts because I am very much a mood reader, so that gives me a little bit more wiggle room in my TBR. Because if I had nothing but a bunch of books that I had to read, I probably wouldn't read them. So let's go ahead and get into it. Swipe number 1.
You just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
I'm literally tearing up. When I tell you that I was like, Lexa, you should remove this book because if you get it, you are not going to want to read it. Because I have a plan, like I had a plan for it that I didn't want to have to execute this month. And I was like, no, it'll be fine. What are the chances out of like 300 things I'm gonna get this book? My friend is gonna be so excited about this. A Court of Thorns and Roses. And here's the thing, is that I could just so easily swipe left on this, but I feel like I can't. I feel like this is the universe saying, Lexa, come on. We are handing this to you on a silver platter. Your friend has been begging you to read this book and you have been putting it off. You need to do it. Except here's the thing, is that if I'm gonna read ACOTAR, I'm gonna read all of them. And I'm like tearing up because like I've now committed to that. I don't own all of them. I'm gonna have to buy them. I don't want to swipe right on this. This is a bold decision, especially going into my birthday month, but I don't think I would ever be able to look my friend in the eye. I've never looked her in the eye. We've never met in person, but you know what I mean. If I swiped left on this, and I don't think that V would be my friend anymore. Oh my God. I'm just kicking myself so much for not taking this off the list. I actually have 2 copies of this book. I accidentally bought 2. So, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas. This is, from what I know, fantasy, fae, smutty romance. I read the Throne of Glass series last year, loved most of it, got to Tower of Dawn, hated Tower of Dawn so much that I DNF'd that and then pretty much DNF'd the rest of the series. But my friend V has been begging me to read this book. So I guess you're getting a sneak peek. I guess I'm going to somehow have to fit the ACOTAR series into March's TBR, which means I'm gonna have to move some things around, but that's fine. We are nothing if not flexible. The TikTok girlies rave about this. I want to be an ACOTAR fan. I want to live that life. I want to understand the references. And now I guess I will be doing that because we are swiping right on ACOTAR. Hopefully I'll be able to fit in some of the other books in the series, but I literally don't know what else they're about. I don't know anything other than those like 3 keywords I gave you. Okay. Swipe 2. So Many Beginnings. That is one of the books in the Remixed Classic series that they've been doing. So the whole concept of this series is that you're taking classic books, retelling them. I think that they're more YA, but I could be wrong about that. And each author gets like a different book. And I believe it's supposed to be allowing for more diverse and inclusive takes on these classic books, like The Great Gatsby. I think Robin Hood is one of them. I own 3. Can I get this book on audio? Because I feel like this would be a really good audiobook. There is. And my library has it. Okay, then I'm gonna swipe right on this. I didn't think that I was gonna swipe right on like another specific book recommendation. The audiobook is only 8 hours long, so it's not like a super long book. When Kayla was reading this, that's what introduced me to this whole series, is she had read this in like one of her vlogs toward the end of the year last year. And I was like, that is such a cool idea. And then I saw that they had one of The Great Gatsby, which is like the only classic book that I've ever really enjoyed. And then I was like, rather than reading these classics, why don't I just read these instead? The premise says 4 young Black sisters coming of age during the American Civil War. A warm and powerful YA remix of the classic novel Little Women. Yes, absolutely. I love women. This is perfect. Okay, 2 specific books But one specific book, that means that I'm reading like 4 other specific books. Swiping right on Little Women, and let's move on. I have to remember that this is right for me, but this is right for you. So every time that I would say swipe right, it looked like I was swiping left. So I need to remember that it's reversed. Moving on to swipe 3. Continue in a series. Oh my God. Oh my God. Are the Bookish Bumble gods just showering upon me?
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
That'll be perfect because I can read the next book in the ACOTAR series. I spent pretty much all of February continuing on in series, finishing some series, trying to catch up on series. I'm already in the series mood, and that'll work perfectly since I am now adding ACOTAR to my list. So absolutely. Now, is this gonna be so boring because I'm just swiping right on everything? It did not go this well last month. Okay, we are swiping right on continuing in a series. We are 3 for 3, folks. 3 for 3.
Talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping.
And we are moving on to swipe number 4. This is another prompt. The prompt is quests. Characters going on quests or journeys or something that takes them on a adventure. Now, I have to admit, this is a little bit difficult sometimes for me because I don't know the premise of a lot of books, but I'm sure I can come up with a few examples. Let's look. One thing that this definitely reminds me of that I know of is Nettle and Bone. I actually started this and then I DNF'd it, but not because I wasn't liking it. I just had a lot of other things to read, so I put it down and I've been really wanting to pick it back up. And I know that she is like going on a quest to save her sister, and she has to like accomplish these different tasks, possibly like find these different items that's supposed to be impossible, but then she does it. And I've heard that this is like cozy horror fantasy, and that's definitely the vibes I was getting for the first like few pages. An example of this that I've read and I didn't like was an Enchantment of Ravens. I believe that that was either on my worst or my most disappointing books of last year. Was not a fan, but they did a lot of walking and talking and going on a quest to, I don't even remember, okay, find something or find someone. But quests could also be, like I said, interpreted a little bit more loosely, like Legends and Lattes, which I know is really popular right now, again along that like cozy fantasy vibe, where our main girl is on a quest to open up a coffee shop. And pretty much the whole book, I believe, is just her trying to figure out like what kind of coffee she's gonna serve, how much she's gonna charge for it, things like that. One could call that a quest. Normally I would swipe right on this, but I feel like I wanted, like, everything was going so well, I want to challenge myself a little bit more. So I think that I'm actually going to swipe left on quest, not because it doesn't sound like something that I want to do, but just to add a little bit of spice. Hopefully I don't come to regret that decision. That leads us to swipe number 5. Ooh, almost at the end, which is summer vibes. Summer vibes. Okay, this might be a very hot take, but summer is like my least favorite season.
Is it me? Am I the drama? I don't think I'm the drama.
I do like certain things about summer. I like being at the pool. I like that the sun is out for a lot longer, there are longer days. Nothing irks me quite as much as being hot. I hate being hot. I live in the southern Midwest where it just gets hot and humid and muggy and gross. I don't live anywhere near an ocean, otherwise maybe I would like it a little bit more. Or a body of water other than nasty Springfield Lake, which I will not be dipping a single toe into. So summer is not my thing, and summer vibes is not my thing. Especially when I'm not in summer. I know that some people, like, being in winter might make you want to read summery books to like get you in the mood, but I'm not in that mood. First off, let me back up and give you some examples of what could give me summer vibes. What books do I have that could give me summer vibes? Oh, well, this one's pretty obvious, but Sometime in Summer by Katrina Leno. This is actually like the first one. I think that this is what came to mind when I put this prompt in there, because you can see the one little tab here. I actually started to read this. I was loving it, but then I was reading this in the winter and I was like, I feel like this would be perfect for when I'm visiting my dad in Florida on the beach or at the pool, or it is actually summer and I am more in that headspace because I wasn't quite, I've gotten a little dark, haven't I? Again, I haven't quite figured out the settings on this camera for like showing books, but that's fine. The book is lit, so that works. I wasn't quite in the summertime mood for this, so I put it off. I don't know if this counts. I don't know if this is summer vibes, but She Who Became the Sun gives me summer vibes because of the sun, but it is also fantasy. And I don't know if I know of a lot of fantasy that would give me summer vibes. Or He Started It. This is a thriller, I think, but I think maybe it also involves a road trip or something, but like she's outside in like a dress, well, things are on fire, but it looks like it's hot. And I feel like road trips give me summer vibes. I might live to regret this. That was swipe 5. No, I still got 5 swipes. Okay, we're good. But I'm gonna go ahead and swipe left on summer vibes, and I am betting that we're gonna have better picks for these next two. So now we have swipe number 6, right? Yes. The Train to Impossible Places. This is a middle grade. I don't know what it's about. Probably a train to impossible places. A train that travels through impossible places. A boy trapped in a snow globe. A girl who's about to go on an adventure of a lifetime. This is a middle grade fantasy. When I first got into reading, I was really into middle grade. I still love middle grade, but I have to be in the right mood for it. At one point in time, it was like the majority of what I was reading. So I had subscribed to ACOTAR Junior, but then after a couple of months, I realized that it's not like I was using the other things that were in the box. I didn't really care about the little knickknacks. And the versions of the books that I was getting, they just weren't like as special to me as like some of like these better special editions that I get like in Fairy Loot and Illumicrate. I felt like I was getting more for my money on those than I was out of the ACOTAR Junior subscription, so I canceled that, but I think that this is one that I got before I canceled it. This is really tricky because it seems really cute. An impossible train comes through Susie's living room, she sneaks on board, and then some adventure ensues. It seems cute, but I need to be in the mood to read middle grade. And I need to be in the mood, like, if I'm gonna read middle grade, I need to be in the mood to read that specific middle grade at that point in time. And I don't know if I'm going to be for this one. So it's a bold choice because we'll now be even on how many times I've swiped left and right. I think I'm gonna go ahead and swipe left. That means that we are on swipe number 7 and we have 2 more to choose from. Oh no. The next one is probably my least favorite genre. Well, maybe not my least favorite, but the one that I want to work so badly for me and it just never does. And that's contemporary romance. Did I have anything planned? I put this on here to challenge myself to like actually read some of the contemporary romance that I have. Okay, and now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I'm feeling a little bit better. Because in my book that I filmed of the 23 books I want to read in 2023, the only, I think, contemporary romance that I had on there was 7 Days in June, and I really do want to read that. Can I get the audiobook for that at the library? Dory, how do you feel about not using the couch as a scratching post? I can place a hold on it, but at the library, it says that there's a 6-week hold, but sometimes like people skip their turn. The other contenders that I would have for this is whichever is the next one in the Chloe, like the Brown sister series. I read Chloe Brown, I technically DNF'd it. I had like literally 20 pages left, but I didn't like it very much. But I've heard that if you didn't like Get a Life Chloe Brown, you might actually like the other books in the series that are following her 2 other sisters. I believe that it's Get a Life Chloe Brown, Take a Hint Danny Brown, and Act Your Age Eve Brown. Oh yeah, here it is. This is Take a Hint Danny Brown. The covers are so cute. I bought all 3 of them because I thought that there was 0 chance that I wasn't gonna absolutely love all of these. And then Get a Life Chloe Brown just didn't work for me, but I'm still holding out hope. Oh, there is also Juliet Takes a Breath, which this would also be summer vibes. It's sapphic. We have I think our main character, Juliet, is Puerto Rican, in a summer bursting with queer brown dance parties and a sexy fling with a motorcycling librarian. Okay, that actually sounds really cute. I've had this on my TBR for so long, but again, do I want to save this for the summer? I thought for sure when I put this on there, I was like, whatever, I'll just end up swiping left on it, but it'll be good to talk about how contemporary romance doesn't work for me. But throwing curveballs this month, and I am going to swipe right on contemporary romance. And that puts us in a really good position because we still have technically 3 swipes, 8, 9, and 10, and we only have to pick 1 from those. Let's go ahead and move on to swipe 8. Okay, I put all of the different continents on this list to try to branch out to Dory, the couch is not a scratching post. Please go use your scratching post. I will say though, this couch has held up exceptionally well for how much she does use it as a scratching post. I got it off of Wayfair, iconic. So I put all 7 continents on there. Well, 7, did I put Antarctica? Yeah, because I figured either finding a book that's set there or that the author's from there. Antarctica would have to, that would be quite the challenge. I don't even know if there are books set in Antarctica. I'm sure there are. But fiction books? Maybe. In hopes to kind of help expand my horizon, but the one that I landed on is North America. And that's where I live. So I could challenge myself to try to like get outside of the United States in North America, but like we're going with this theme of kind of challenging myself for this, right? Getting me out of my comfort zone, and I don't feel like that gets me out of my comfort zone. So swiping right on North America would be the safe choice. But as a 7 on the Enneagram, am I here to live my life making safe choices? If I were to choose this one, I would definitely try to branch out and find something that like is either set in Canada or Mexico or the author is from Canada or Mexico, probably set in one of those. But we're not here to play this easy. So in that spirit, I'm gonna swipe left. And we're back to where we were last month. I either have to choose this one or I have to take the risk of having to do the next prompt not knowing what it's gonna be. Because we have 1 more to choose from and only 2 more swipes. Okay. Let's look. This one is another open-ended prompt and it is high fantasy, which, I mean, come on. Say it with me, ACOTAR, but Also say it with me, like 80% of the books that I read, probably not even exaggeration, maybe even an under exaggeration, most of the books that I read are fantasy, and most of the fantasy I read is high fantasy. I could read one of the A Court of Thorns and Roses books, but I have to count, like I can't count ACOTAR for any of the other prompts because I chose ACOTAR. That has to be one of the books. I would have to read the other books and assign them to a different category, if that makes sense.
Sometimes I'll start a sentence and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way.
It's young adult? I thought that ACOTAR was adult. It has smut in it, but this says Goodreads Choice Award nominee for Best Young Adult Fantasy and Science Fiction 2015. Someone let me know down in the comments below. Was it categorized as young adult but then aged up? I never see this in the young adult section. Cause like I know with Throne of Glass, that's technically categorized as young adult, but then as she got older and then the characters got older, it kind of aged up, and I think that you could argue that like the last few books are more adult. So maybe this is the same, but then maybe it aged up quicker. I don't know. So we have A Court of Thorns and Roses, A Court of Mist and Fury, A Court of Wings and Ruin, A Court of Frost and Starlight, A Court of Silver Flames. So all of this is to say, of course, I am swiping right on high fantasy. That is my shit. Even if I don't count ACOTAR, I could count probably any number of other books that I end up reading next month. How am I suddenly just like not seeing any high fantasy on my list? The Priory of the Orange Tree. I'm wanting to read more Brandon Sanderson next month. I've been working through the second era of Mistborn, but before I read The Lost Metal, the last one, I want to read more of his books, so I believe like pretty much all of his adult books are high fantasy. So I could read another Brandon Sanderson book. I was thinking either Tress of the Emerald Sea, which I believe comes out, but maybe it doesn't come out until April, so just kidding. But then there's also, he has a couple of other like standalones, like Warbreaker, Elantris. Those would be two high fantasy, and they're standalones, so that would be nice. Oh, I should also clarify, high fantasy. Now listen, I am not the expert on all things categories of fantasy. I really couldn't tell you the difference between like high fantasy and epic fantasy. Maybe in theory, but not like if you gave me a test on it. But in general, high fantasy just means that it doesn't take place in our world. It takes place in a made up world. Those are usually my favorites because I love learning about new worlds and magic system and places. But just for the fun of it, I mean, wait, come on. We've got to see what I would have gotten for swipe 10 if I had chosen to swipe left on this last one. So if I had said no to high fantasy, I would have had to go with a purple book. These are a lot of my purple books right here, perfectly placed. Some of these are like going from blue into purpley. White Smoke would have been a really good one. I really want to read another Tiffany D. Jackson. I think that this is YA horror, and I feel like someone pitched this as possibly a haunted house or something to do with a haunted house, or maybe it just felt like haunted houses feel. The Astonishing Color of After possibly also could be high fantasy, don't know. This is like half red, half purple, but I have it with my purple books. Another one, I don't know if this screams just purple, but I mean it's purple and orange. Maybe I would categorize this more as orange. I don't know. But for nonfiction, to switch things up, The Anthropocene Reviewed, I started listening to the audiobook of this with my mom, and I want to listen, but I also want to read along so I can tab along with this. That would have been a good one, but honestly, either one would have been great, but I'm super excited about the options that we have. So, a quick rundown of what my March TBR looks like, which is not at all what I thought my March TBR was gonna look like. We've got ACOTAR. Gotta get on that. So Many Beginnings, the Little Women Remixed Classic Edition. Continuing in a series, Contemporary Romance, which we'll see which one I choose. Hopefully I'll be able to find one that really works for me. This would have been the perfect prompt for Alone With You in the Ether, which if you haven't seen my video of reading last month's Bookish Bumble prompts, I read for the fantasy standalone because I thought that it was fantasy and then it wasn't fantasy. It would have counted for contemporary romance, but here we are. And then high fantasy, which could be one of the ACOTAR books or one of the many other books that I read throughout the month. I am so excited. Honestly, this month went really well. I'm feeling really good about it. I was honestly a little bit nervous to film this, especially because I just got done reading the books for February's Bookish Bumble picks, and I was feeling, but I feel like adding in a little bit more of the prompts helped, and I think we just got lucky. But having 2 specific books and then 3 prompts, I feel really good about because that's gonna give me a lot more wiggle room, and hopefully I won't feel as stressed as I did. As always, I had so much fun filming this video. Let me know down in the comments what books that you would have picked. Are there some that I should have picked? Let me know down in the comments which ones that you would have picked. Did I mess up? Did I end up swiping right or left on some that you wouldn't have? Do you have any recommendations for continuing in a series, contemporary romance or high fantasy? And in honor of coming upon my birthday month, leave a little like cake emoji in the comments, or something that feels birthday-esque. One of those emojis. So let me know that you made it all the way to the end of this video. Don't forget to consider subscribing, hitting that thumbs up button. I am so thankful for this community that we're building here, and I can't wait to see you all next time. Bye! Something is making a loud noise, and I don't know if it's my heater or my fridge or neither. Yeah, that was my sound machine. So it was doing its job. You're kind of at an angle to this. Oof. This is going swimmingly.